Hey everyone, it's October 21st, and that means that if today's your birthday, you share with serial killer Dr. Joseph Michael Swango, who killed as many as 60 victims in the 80s and 90s. And that is him right up there. Born in 1954 in Tacoma, Washington, Swango grew up in Quincy, Illinois, where he tested at a genius level IQ of 160 in high school, winning awards for the National Merit Scholar Foundation and playing clarinet in the high school band. He graduated in 1972 and joined the Marines, after which he went on to attend medical school, where he was thought of as a brilliant but unmotivated student. Many patients he was assigned to check up on suffered life-threatening emergencies, with at least 5 of them dying. Despite a negative letter of recommendation, he obtained a surgical internship at The Ohio State University in 1983. At least 7 patients died under his care that year, and nurses reported seeing him inject unknown substances into IVs shortly before their deaths. One patient who survived later told investigators, "A blonde doctor put something in my IV and everything went black." The Ohio State administrators let him finish his year as an intern, but didn't invite him back for the standard 5-year residency. With a letter of recommendation from The Ohio State, he obtained his medical license, getting hired as an EMT back in Quincy. Shortly after his arrival, paramedics began suffering sudden bouts of nausea after Swango offered them a snack. He was placed under surveillance, and one victim searched his gym bag, where he found a large quantity of ant poison. The police were called, and Swango was charged with assault, with the search of his home revealing he had an enormous stockpile of acids, industrial chemicals, and poisons, along with several chemical formulas and recipes for making poison. Convicted of assault, he served 5 years in prison, but there was no murder charge levied for what he had done in Columbus. Released in 1989, Swango bounced between jobs in Virginia, where coworkers often complained of sudden stomach pain. He fell in love with a nurse, and the two planned to marry. Swango changed his name that year and used the new name to seek work as a physician, being hired in Sioux Falls, Idaho. He did well in his new job, and colleagues thought of him as an asset to the hospital staff. But his hubris led him to attempt to join the American Medical Association under his new name, and their background check turned up his poisoning conviction. The TV show Justice Files ran a segment on Swango at about the same time, and he was fired. His bride-to-be began suffering violent migraines and left him to return home, where her headaches stopped, but she eventually committed suicide with arsenic found in her system. Under another assumed identity, he was hired as a doctor in New York, and again his patients began to turn up dead. Swango was found out at his current employer, with a warning sent to every medical school and hospital in the country. When federal authorities began looking into the case, he fled to Zimbabwe, where he was hired at Manene Hospital, and again his patients often died suddenly. Swango was arrested and charged with poisoning them, but escaped the country and was intercepted by INS agents at O'Hare Airport on his way to Saudi Arabia in 1997. He pleaded guilty to defrauding the government for faking his immigration paperwork. While in prison for that offense, prosecutors built their murder case, and facing the death penalty in Zimbabwe, he opted to plead guilty in the U.S. instead to avoid extradition. He's serving 3 consecutive life terms at a federal maximum security prison in Colorado. The FBI believes Swango killed approximately 60 of his patients, though the exact number will never be known. And Dr. Joseph Michael Swango, I say, happy birthday, you bastard.